Hi, I'm Brendan Mills and welcome to episode 18 of Finance Coach TV, you and your business's finance coach. In today's episode, and also the following 4 episodes after today, we're going to look at the demise of Qantas and how Qantas has gone from being, the pride of Australian aviation to a company basically on its knees. And we're going to look at lessons that we can learn from what's happening with Qantas and what has happened with Qantas, so we can run our business in a better and more financially savvy manner. And the concept I want to look at today is the complacency Qantas has had. So for a long period of time, Qantas hasn't really had any competitors in the domestic market for the service that they're providing. So going back about 13 years ago, Ansett collapsed. Prior to that, Qantas collapsed, about 20 or so years ago, for those that can remember that far back. But in the last 10 years has seen the rising of Virgin as a competitor. Now, for a long period of time, Virgin positioned itself as a budget carrier, of which people were still loyal to Qantas because they didn't want to necessarily travel in that budget type environment. But in the last 2 years or so, Virgin has started to compete with Qantas domestically for the same type of passengers that Qantas deal with. The business passenger and the frequent traveller who doesn't necessarily want to fly a budget airline. So Virgin all of a sudden in the last 2 years have been putting a lot of pressure on Qantas with their service offering. And this has meant Qantas from being complacent and dominating the domestic market to having a more than competent adversary in this space. So the first question is, are you getting complacent in your business? Because one of the key things that has happened to Qantas is that they relied significantly on their business traveller who would travel business class domestically within Australia. And Virgin now is competing in that space over the last couple of years. So all of a sudden, people have an alternative. And broadly speaking, a price of a Qantas business class ticket is about a third of what it was a couple of years ago. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, firstly, are we being complacent because of our current position being quite strong? What can we learn at the moment if something was to change? How would that affect our business? So the key question is, how much revenue are we generating from different areas of the business? And ideally, we want to have a broad range of revenue items for our business. So if we're running, let's say, a dental practice, we want to have a mixture of consultations and cleans and things like that through to the higher end, bridge, crown and reconstructive type of work. We don't need to rely on a single area too much. So that's the first challenge that Qantas has been facing, is complacency with having all their revenue coming, or a significant portion of their revenue coming from an area where it's no longer as easy to attain as before and not as profitable. So that's lesson 1 for today from Qantas. Are we being complacent in our business? So it's really important that we're being prudent and understanding where our revenue is coming from so we can protect that revenue base into the future. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.